on this Empowering Blockchain Summit 2019, which next session will be talking about the social impact of blockchain. And this session will be presented by Mr. Jean-Daniel Gauthier, co-founder of Blockchain Zoo. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome him with a big round of applause.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Jakarta. So, I understand that everybody has just done eating. And after food, usually your brain goes into this very specific kind of state that means not too much thinking. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to try to share something a bit more on the lighter side, a bit less technical, and a bit more personal. Christmas 1998, I was gifted a personal computer from my father. At the time, I didn't even know the difference between a casing and a hard disk. I took it out of the box and I very diligently plugged all the cables, and I very shyly pressed the power button, hoping that nothing would explode. And then, well, nothing happened. And by that I mean nothing. The computer didn't start, and this is why, out of disappointment, I lost all my hair. The next thing I did is to actually dismantle the computer from head to toes, reassemble it, and it worked. A month later, I was an intern at a local ISP, and for the following 20 years plus, I have been evolving in the IT world, and I have been witnessing how IT, how technology change our ways to interact with one another as people and as a society. I am Jean-Daniel Gauthier, co-founder of Blockchain Zoo, Gartner-listed company for technology and consulting. And today I am gonna share about what I think is the future social impact of blockchain. When we hear the word social, we very often think of social good, social impact as in how to help refugees, how to share resources better. This is true. We also think, and we also tend to see social as something that is extremely linked to physical interactions. This is also true. But social has evolved. Of course, we are all aware of the social part of social media, for instance. And we have become online beings as much as we are physical beings. Going further into the definition, impact. And by this, I mean transformational impact. The way technology influences the way we behave. Technology has had a very important influence on the way we grow as people, on the way we move, and on the way we connect. Who, in the last week, has learned something new online? Raise a hand. Who in the last week, or in the last month, or maybe even in the last year, has learned something new and applied it with positive results online? Who's gone to a library? Fantastic! A round of applause. Who has during the last month, or last week or last year, heard about how now we don't need to call back our kids inside because they're already inside playing Minecraft. And complained about, or seen someone complain about the cell phone hunch. Who's on social media? Okay, sorry. Who's not on social media? Who hasn't shared something online during the last week? I was really, really busy. We are not changing with the technology. We have already changed. Our habits have already changed. And the way we interact with each other has already changed. But not only in positive ways. Our concerns and our fears have also evolved. Amidst world news that include the Amazon rainforest and other forests in Africa being on fire, we still have the mental bandwidth to be preoccupied about whether or not Microsoft is a digital nation. About why Google has my dead grandpa's data and the dead grandpa has never used the internet. Privacy has become one of our most pressing concerns. Agency, the influence of one person on a bigger system, has become one of our most important concerns, which really we didn't think of that 20 years ago. What happened? How on earth have we come to this result? Well, this is very interesting and very conceptual. I am not Piet Mondrian. I think there is a little something that happened with the slides. So, this is supposed to be search engines. So this very nice orange bar here represents the search engines. So search engines, 20 years ago, who was online 20 years ago? Was someone online? Yes? What search engine were you using? Alta Vista. My man! Could have been Yahoo, could have been Lycos, Infoseek, AskJeeves, or if you're really hardcore, web crawler, right? We went from 20 plus search engines to Google. We don't search things online anymore, we Google things. And sometimes we care whether they are verified, sometimes we don't. Who here knows a little bit about gaming? Any gamer here? First console was what? Oh, ZX Spectrum! That's awesome! Spectrum is still on the market or not? It's dead. Atari is dead. A lot of the first generation consoles are dead. 90 plus iterations of gaming console have gone through the market, and now we're left with 5 platforms. Computers, Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, and I'm kind enough to integrate mobile, right? And we don't play video games anymore, we game, right? We don't search anymore, we Google. We don't play anymore, we game. And then you know where I'm going, right? I'm gonna have the question like, would you add me on Friendster? Would you add me on MySpace? No, they're not here anymore. Along with Hive, High5, all gone. Now we don't share something on social media anymore, we tweet. Technology breathes. A new concept appears, and at this point, technology inhales. It takes everything. The first mover, the competition, the innovators. Hold his breath, and then by the time it exhales, a contender has become a hero. It has become the figurehead of that specific technology. And by that time, the name of this contender has become a verb. And when it has become a verb, it has already changed us. It has already changed the way we interact with things on a reflex level, almost down to our reptilian brain. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Look at the state of blockchain. We have 2,500 cryptocurrencies and around 40 consensus mechanisms. Granted, given, not all of them are good, not all of them are useful, but technology is breathing in. So what? Why am I diving into the past of technology and trying to reminisce? Well, because the way technology has changed us already, blockchain, I deeply believe, will change us on the same profound reflex level as other technologies before it, prior to it. Three fantastic concepts that are supported by blockchain are trust, efficiency, and sovereignty. Blockchain does the same things as other technologies do, but it does it differently, in a way that introduces this concept deep down to the technological level. Let's take trust. If I sent you a couple of Bitcoin, which I wish I had, I cannot take them back. Unless, I hire someone to try to beat you in the head, but if you don't give me your private key, well, I can't get them back. But what else can I not take back from a blockchain? Theoretically speaking, whatever I put in it, right? If I put my word on the blockchain, can I take it back? It's there, it's time-stamped, it's irreversible. So what kind of words do you put on a blockchain that benefit from being irreversible? Like maybe contracts, maybe property title, maybe content? Oh, what about voting? What about a very beautiful orange square? There's supposed to be voting written here. So, if I vote on the blockchain, I give you my word that I've chosen this or that person, right? But conversely, whoever is going to consult the blockchain to see what I voted cannot take my word back. If it's there, if it's immutable, whoever looks at it knows that I have said it. Add to this identities. So I have a little story for you about identity. I think it's Switzerland, there was a case earlier this year of a certain politician that was campaigning online on Facebook. And this politician has had a little mishap because, very unfortunately, his family name is, Anus. So Mr. Anus was campaigning on Facebook. Up to the moment when he wasn't campaigning on Facebook anymore, because Facebook deemed that his name, his official name, the name on his ID card, right, was against Facebook's community standards. I find it somehow disturbing that Facebook, a huge, resourceful, centralized entity, has any agency on how we should be named. There is something that's called a government that issues something that's called an ID card, right? And at the very most, that should be the authority that can validate us, identify us. But further than that, what if we could confirm our identity and what we say, what we did, what we own? What would it do at a reflex level, at a personal level? Now, look at the state of social media today. Fake news everywhere. It's the Russians, it's the someone, it's the French. Why never the French, right? Everything is fake now. Now, when we meet someone, when we want to do business with someone, when we want to engage with someone, the first thing we ask ourselves is, can that person be trusted? Right? What if this were reversed? What if there were an easy way to actually look at this person's identity? What if I could prove myself to you by just showing you blockchain credentials that have been approved by whoever should approve it? This is me. My name is Jean-Daniel Gauthier. Here are my diplomas. Here's my CV. Please hire me. Here is all the articles I've ever written. Here is the proof that I've been at Chainway conference and I've made a fantastic speech. Please tip me. You don't need anymore to know whether whatever article is written about me is kind of, not me or whoever, is a kind of smear campaign or is a marketing stunt. The trustless system brings back trust at a reflex level between people. That's one thing. Then, well, there is this little something about being the turtle. You all know the story of the tortoise, actually, the tortoise in the hare, right? It's this rabbit and this turtle, they race against each other and the turtle wins. Because the rabbit just keeps on taking breaks. Technology right now is a bit like this rabbit. I mean, think about it. A ping can go to the end of the planet and back in maximum a second if the network is bad. So we can say that information travels at 40,000 kilometers a second, right? Now, try to, for instance, process a letter of credit. A letter of credit takes 2 weeks to process. Why is there this huge gap between these 40,000 kilometers a second and these 2 weeks to process one document? It is because the parties involved don't trust each other. And they need to sequentially check and recheck everything that is said and everything that is done. I have actually personally been involved into a proof of concept to try to speed up the letter of credit process in Singapore with a big bank. And the POC has been proven to reduce the time of this process from 2 weeks to 2 days. Because parties could actually trust what was digitally written because of digital signature, because of immutability, because of cascading certificate. But what else can we do with that? We can share things. We can market things. If I can trust what's written, then I don't have to trust a middleman anymore. Here's another hero that's gone. The hero that say, hey, let me handle all your transactions. I have the resources, I have the speed, I have the money. But I set the prices. If we can trust each other on what we say, on what we have done, on what we have, on what we're ready to pay, then we can start sharing peer-to-peer. We can start saying, hey, I have something that I don't need. Maybe you need it. And I don't need to look online or offline or for someone who's going to act as an intermediary in order to help me share things. I can just go. Maybe you can guess it. You have guessed it. Peer-to-peer. Very simply. Energy trading. Microgrids. I put solar panels on the top of my home. My neighbors do the same, and we use each other's electricity. We help each other reduce our electricity bills. We borrow electricity from each other the same way that we would borrow sugar. But wait, do we even borrow sugar anymore between neighbors? What do we trade? What do we barter anymore on a personal level, on a reflex level, right? Now, when you want something, your first reflex is to buy it. What if, thanks to being able to trust each other and being able to easily share things, even resources, we could reintroduce a culture of sharing, bartering, community, thanks to blockchain efficiency? Efficiency leads to sharing, sharing leads to sustainability, sustainability leads to saving resources. This is very utopic, right? But what conflict is not based on resources, on resource availability? Finally, in the end, if you want to look at the great blockchain utopia, we could access a world, we could live in a world where there are no more heroes. And by no more heroes, I mean no more custodians of our information, no more custodians of who we are, what we do, what we watch, what we eat, where we go, what we prefer, who we meet, because look, this is exactly what they are. This is exactly what they have. All these tech giants are in possession of our identities and of our transactions. And one day, just like Facebook did for this poor Mr. Anus, they can decide that, no, you are against community policies, you are against community standards. Heroes can be us again. We can be the person who helped our neighbor with borrowing our car. We can be the person who tip someone at the other end of the planet for content they are really authoring. There are many, many use cases of what blockchain can do besides finance, besides money, besides token. You know, I recently had a small argument with a dear friend of mine who introduced me to a new wallet, right? And I told him, look, this is all very good, but I am tired of looking at solutions for people who have money to make even more money. I want to see things that are going to change the way I live day to day. And here they are. And they concern fashion, they concern medicine, science, diamonds. We have all these use cases on our Instagram channel. You're going to see a QR code later. So, to conclude, what blockchain can bring to the way we interact with each other, the way we structure ourselves as a society, is ethics, sharing, and empowerment. Ethics, because I cannot go back on my word, because the more transparent we are and the more ethical we can get. Sharing, because when there are incentives, well, we are incentivized to share. And empowerment, because when you de-intermediate, then you bring back the power to the originators of resources and content to actually benefit from these resources and this content without arbitrage and without a third party fixing prices where they shouldn't. Now, it would be all nice talks and only talks if I didn't share with you maybe what I would do if, to continue in the direction of this technology breathing. There is going to be one contender at some point who don't know who yet, who's gonna de facto become one of the leader of the technology. Maybe one, maybe two, maybe five, but these contenders, just like Google was not a search engine anymore, but an advertisement agency, Facebook was not just a way to share messages with a friend, but also a way to advertise and to campaign. And the next big name in blockchain will probably have uses we are not foreseeing yet. And what I see is that, oh my God. I am sorry, it appears that the presentation has some issues in its display. So we're gonna guess. We're gonna guess. What do you think is your guess for the first orange line? Who listened? Beyond what? We need to see beyond something. What is it we need to see beyond? Beyond the financial aspect of blockchain. It's not about doing things in a more profitable way. It's doing things in a more efficient way. What can be seen, what can be done otherwise? What new ways that are more empowering can we find to do the same old things? Right? Now, second line, what is your guess? People and communities. Focus on people and communities. There is someone somewhere that needs something you have. And you need now something that someone somewhere has. How to connect you and that person without a centralized intermediary. How to form a network, a community, where everyone is rewarded fairly for participating in this community. This is another direction in which to research. And then, the third line, the blue line, can you guess what it's about? Agency and incentivization, exactly. I don't think I need to explain this further. I'm just going to say that people care when they matter, and people matter when they care. So how to drive individual engagement within communities and within systems, so individual engagement can, in the end, turn out to be something not just profitable, but positive. And I am convinced on even an emotional level, intellectual and emotional level, that blockchain can help. So to all the researcher, the explorer, the mover, the doers, these are three things that really deserve looking into. Okay, now, you might be thinking, I took an online course on mind reading once, let's see if it works. Someone in the audience is bound to think, oh, damn it, this dude, he talks. What is he doing about it? So, actually, I shouldn't tell you, because it's not official yet. So I'm giving you a visual whisper. I haven't put the logo too big on the page. This is a clue. I'm leaving you here. Take a picture of it, Google it, tweet it if you want, and see what it's about. But it's I do think one step towards everything I've told you. I can't tell you more right now, and I shouldn't even be telling you anything. So here it is. No, I don't do that. I don't kill people. Of course, this wouldn't be a proper talk without a proper plug. So I'm plugging here Blockchain Zoo's Instagram and YouTube channels. Guys, seriously, we have really cool content on our YouTube channel and really cool content on our Instagram channel. And since, let's say, I'm pretty much a talking guy and not much of a social media guy, this is how I can do to advertise it. But really, you're going to find some cool inspiration. There are a lot of people on this channel who can actually talk about what blockchain can do besides just financial. So if you want, if you don't, that's okay too. I'm happy with your smiles. In the end, well, what else can I say but thank you. Thank you for your time, and thank you for listening. Hopefully we can meet again, and have a great rest of your day. Yes, so questions maybe? We have 3 minutes.
Hi there, I'm Yael Tamar, CMO Talbach. So I agree with most things except scarcity. I think there is an illusion of scarcity, and there is no scarcity in the world, and it's all a social construct. Even things like energy, water, you know, it's all pretty much bullshit. You have people that want to sell you bottled water in the industry of 300 billion people, where you can just basically look at different places. So whatever you showed, you know, these diagrams, basically think outside the box. So instead of saying, okay, well, we'll share, we'll produce, you know, energy and buy and sell it to the general grid, you can invent another grid. Instead of buying bottled water, you can use filters. Like, always think outside the box. There is absolutely no scarcity. There's only focus of control and some interest groups that take our resources and don't distribute it. So blockchain, I think, can help distribute these resources that are free for all. They're not scarce at all. You know, we can just take them from another place. So I think that all of us have to start thinking in the direction of, let's take stuff from a different place, produce it somewhere else, and use blockchain to, like, change our thinking. What do you think?
We could actually engage into a debate about scarcity, about fake generated scarcity. I know that, for instance, a lot of farms in the food industry regularly dumped tremendous amount of produce because they want to maintain their prices, for instance, and I find it disgusting, to be honest. Now, I also know that the planet in the supply chain is the only provider that never gets repaid. Resources, yes, can be plenty and can be free when they are exploited, and I don't even like this word, when they are utilized in a sustainable manner. Now, in order to be sustainable, you have to be efficient. In order to not dump these huge quantities of produce, you have to find ways to redistribute it, and you have to find ways to redistribute it in a time that's short enough so all those tomatoes don't arrive completely rotten. I do think that, yes, if there is plenty in the resources, there are ways to share, if not the resources, as you said, because there are plenty, at least Is it behind me?
No, it's not.
If not these resources, at least the means the means to convey these resources. So if you don't share the water, if you don't want to monetize the water, which makes perfect sense, you can actually gather as a community and act upon the piping. If you don't want to monetize the produce, you can act as a community and act upon the trucks and the roads. There are many ways we can share many things, but I also agree on what you say, and I do agree that blockchain, at the level that you have introduced, or at the level I've presented, can actually help if it's used correctly, of course.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. Well, the time has finished actually for this session. So we have to continue another session. So thank you so much, Mr. Jean-Daniel Gauthier, for the remarkable speech today. Please give him a big round of applause.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.